I felt my emotions starting to get more tied to it though. Like I won 2 games last night, 50-49 in the end, and was talking to random strangers, and I was like, "Come on, don't die!" Super fired up.
I love you so much. We did this together. I'll never forget you.
Yeah, I forgot them.
I forgot them.
Are you good enough to do a tournament?
No, like him? No.
Yeah.
No.
Chris
I mean,
won a
unless
tournament.
there's
That's pretty impressive.
Yes. Should we jump in? Should we talk about your Halo tournament, or we're already on?
Let's say start with the Halo tournament.
Yeah.
When
was that? 2 weeks ago? Yes, 2 weeks ago.
He's not mic'd up,
Yes.
but yeah,
2 weeks ago.
Chris won a
It
Halo
was 2
tournament
weeks
2
ago.
weeks ago.
And it was the entirety of our Saturday spent. Well, I don't know about you. I was watching on my phone, trying to listen to his teammate talk them through everything, and trying to listen to Chris's comms in the background. And my Becky's parents were in town, and they're like, "What are you watching right now?" It's like, "I'm watching my friend play video games online."
While your wife was setting world records. I'm not going to watch this rowing. I'm going to watch
I'm watching my friend play video games. I've never said a more ridiculous sentence.
I have never even considered watching an esports tournament in my life. Like, I've heard about esports, and I haven't really played video games consistently in 20 years. And then he joined this tournament, and I was literally like locked to my phone or my computer while I was working all day, like watching his team leader, whoever was running his team and live streaming it, was one of the most interesting characters of all time, and knew so much about the game and the social dynamics. And they had good announcers, and it was like it was just like a fun competition, but it was really cool. It was really
enthralling.
fun.
I mean, the whole thing was what, like 8 hours, and we were probably glued in for most of it.
Yeah.
Once I got my link working, at least.
Yeah. It reminded me of a CrossFit competition that like you'd really have to do CrossFit to be like, okay, he literally sat in front of a screen for 9 hours playing a video game.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
it was 11 a.m.
he
until
wouldn't
8
even play with
p.m.
us
You can't
anymore
even like,
afterwards.
so you're mid-tournament, you can't press pause.
Yeah, I said that I wish I'd known you were playing. I would have brought you some snacks or something.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, because you are right by him.
Yeah.
And my mind could not go away from, like, I watched him. He was drinking Dr. Peppers the whole time. He didn't move at all. Like but you weren't on the live stream. It was, not CTP was not drinking Dr. Peppers.
It was Mountain Dew.
What were you drinking?
Yeah, what were you
Was it
drinking?
Mountain Dew?
Yeah, water.
Reigns?
I would drink a lot
Reigns.
of caffeine. I can't stay.
Yeah.
Oh, I had
let's
some
say
C4s.
Yeah.
I could not stay engaged that long.
Well, I play video games, and after like an hour or two, not only do I just get bored where I'm like, all right, I'm good. Like, I don't need to play anymore. But also I start sucking. Like, I'll just like, my thumb will just not work. And I'm like, I even get tired in video games.
Just no reps.
Sounds like you're not enduring.
Yeah, that's just not my forte. But he was there. They played for 9 hours, and he live streamed the whole thing. He maybe got up to pee twice and just literally sat there. And I was like, wow, that takes a lot of mental focus to do that.
Yeah, and diapers.
Yeah, and diapers. He just shit himself.
Like, Chris, is it fun like the whole time? Or is it kind of like you go through phases of, I don't know, I just kind of want this over with?
How's he going to answer without a mic, man?
He's going to nod up and down. Yeah, he said it was intense. Yeah,
I feel
super
like
engaged.
you guys can tell me because I don't play
And he
video
won.
games. But is it not like really stimulating the whole time?
I maybe have a crazy brain, but I relax. Like because it takes my full focus and stops me from like going on my normal ruminating thoughts. It like calms my brain down. But apparently like they talk and he says he can't play too late at night because then it'll like get ramped up and not be able to sleep. So I think it really depends. And like the more ADHD you are, the more that like things that normally stimulate you like calm you down. It's the same thing with like fighting, except I'm hurt. So I can't do grappling and normal things that do it. So I guess killing people in a fake video game is the closest.
I feel like there's so many
me.
things like that, especially for those of you that do it, that really enjoy it. I don't think you should compete in it because, as an example, I thought I was really good at Dr. Mario, and I was at Adam's house one time. Oh, man. I don't think I've ever played it again.
That broke your
Yeah,
spirit.
the
What
time,
happened?
he worked me. I
made him so
I, for real,
happy.
my whole life I was like, I'm pretty good at that game. Like I'm just like fast at it. And then I played him like one time, and he was like laughing 3 or 4 beers in. He was like, oh my gosh.
No, it didn't make me happy to beat him. I knew I was going to beat him. It made me happy when he said that he thought he was good. Because I was like, oh, is it going to be fun?
Boy, you had no idea.
I was like so mad. I'm serious. I haven't played it since. I'm done.
Yeah, I got a dose of reality coming back into Halo from that because I played at 18 years old and I'm 38 now. So literally 20 years ago was the last time I played. And back then I was like really good. Like I was like, oh, I know all the skills and the maps and whatever. And I got back in and started playing with these guys. And I was like, I'm a chump. I don't know how to pick things up and where to go and what this equipment is. And I'm walking out and getting my face blown off all the time.
All right, I know as much about video games as Matt does about American football. So like, that game has obviously withstood the test of time. How much has it changed in 20 years?
It's actually, I mean, it was kind of like riding a bike in that a lot of the base fundamentals were like the same. Like the way that the guy moves in the map, picking up things, where the buttons were. The Spartan. What do you call him?
Master Chief.
Master Chief. Chris is so mad at me that I
That's a
said
guy.
that. We don't have esports viewers watching. No one's gonna know. You make 5 people like, oh, Max is a noob.
I don't know. We're about to find out.
Imagine this is like our most viewed podcast.
all the hate
I'm
comments.
starting an esports channel.
It's like
if
in the
that's case.
tactical interview, if you called it the magazine a clip,
Yeah.
everyone comes out. They're like, "What did you say?"
Yeah, but I would say by and large, it's pretty similar.
I mean, the buttons are still the same. They still use like the basic weaponry is still the same, right? Like the assault rifle
the
still
sniper
looks the
was
same.
kind of still the same
Yeah.
as it used to be.
Word still has the golden gun.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I don't think the Bandit Evo was the main gun that you had though. Like the main.
That's actually been a relatively new change, even in Halo Infinite. It used to be the BR start, but then they introduced the Bandit.
Yeah. So there are some changes, but I feel like it was pretty cool to get in there and be like, oh wow, all of these games that remind me of like childhood and whatever a lot of them are like the same things. They're just like more evolved. There's like better and more details to them. Anyways, speaking of winning a competition, we had some winners of competition this weekend. Mike, congrats. Matt, almost congrats.
Yeah, we'll
we
get
can
into
give
that.
you a half.
Wait, the leaderboard
a
said
half
you won.
clap.
Yeah,
Yeah, the leaderboard said we won. My check doesn't.
I believe the leaderboard.
Instagram says we
leaderboard.
won too.
Yeah. We'll get into that. Why don't you guys? Well, look, I was originally planning on going and ended up not going. And I was going to ask you guys questions about how everything went, but it was only yesterday that it ended. So I feel like you guys can tell me in real time and give me the update on everything. Tell me everything.
Oh man, you start. There's a lot.
There is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the one, like, I remember when Mike and I were walking out of the venue just to see the look of relief on his face when the whole weekend was done. Because this man, he basically organized the entire community all weekend long, doing shirts, handing out things, checking in with athletes, making sure that everything's running on time, everybody has what they need. And then he went out and competed on Saturday and Sunday. And the look on his face when he was done, just like, I told him in the other room, I was like, it looked like you were Frodo and you just like threw the ring into the fires.
He did his
He was
job.
like, oh, it's done. And it was like a mix of accomplishment and relief, and
A very broken Frodo.
yeah, he was very broken.
Yeah.
I was surprised that you were messaging on, like, we get the Slack set up and you were messaging on Slack, and I was like, what is this guy doing? I was like, all right, well, cool. I appreciate it, but
Yeah.
go
No,
compete.
he was
and then he
locked- he
still
was
won.
locked-
He was
He was
just
locked
riding
in,
the
man.
wave. He was,
You were dialed in.
I didn't have my
locked
kids
in.
with me, so I just felt like there was this abundance of time.
Yeah.
Like
was
I
also-
sat down and watched 20 minutes of a movie. It was nuts.
Did you really? When did
Yeah.
you do that?
In the
Didn't you have
hotel.
time for that?
Yeah. I watched Lethal Weapon 2.
Ooh, that's a good one.
the start of the movie, or did you just pick a 20-minute window?
It was kind of in the middle of it, and man, you can still hear the Australian accent in Mel Gibson.
Man, so Lethal Weapon 2, is that the one where he got shot at the end but lived?
I didn't make it that far.
I'm pretty sure, because my dad convinced me that he died there, and I was like,
Like
wait,
in real life?
No, in the movie. And but it was to the point where Lethal Weapon 3 was already out, and we were watching like the videotape of Lethal Weapon 2, and I was like, wait, that can't, no. And he's like, yeah, no, he's dead.
The
And I was like,
videotape,
what
damn.
happened? And then he wouldn't let me watch the third one.
It's the one where Danny Glover and his wife are sleeping, and like the bad guys, he gets up to pee, and the bad guys like duct tape them, and which would be so terrifying.
Oh
if you're
my
like,
God.
oh, you got to
Wait,
pee.
is it the South African guys?
I don't remember.
Might be.
Yeah, I
do
can't
that
remember,
too.
and I have
So many things right now.
Yeah. What's the Bruce Willis movie that's kind of similar?
Die
to
Hard.
that? I have Die Hard and that mixed up in my
Greatest
brain.
Christmas movie.
I know
of
they're
all time.
different guys and
Yeah.
different movies, but
Yeah.
they're mixed in my brain.
Bad guys, shooting, fighting, all of it.
Yeah. Should we even talk about the competition or just talk about old movies and video games?
We'll get there.
I'm
We'll get there.
surprised that you had time to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Or I had energy to watch a movie.
That was like the bedtime routine. Usually it's like reading, and this was just like, I just want to like turn my brain off and watch some TV.
I think that Outback should take credit for getting you through that weekend. That's the only way that we could have started that weekend and had a chance of getting through it.
Every competition we go to coach or compete starts with Outback. Matt, what'd you think?
It's
Yeah, Outback is like your
You know,
go
I
to
mean,
your
you went
homeland.
in Birmingham with us too.
Yeah, you know what I realized about Outback? It's not an Australian restaurant. It's an Australia-themed restaurant.
Yeah.
Yep. Did you think it was an actual like
There's
you're
a
gonna
very
walk into
important
authentic
Well,
Australian
that was
cuisine?
like when I first came here, Mike was like, "Have you ever had a bloomin' onion?" I was like, "What? What's a bloomin' onion?" I was like, "I've never seen this in my
sound
life."
is like I genuinely thought you would like it.
Yeah.
I was like, I probably said it in a laughing way.
And I was like, I don't know what that is. But then like Lisa it was her first time, and she's going through the menu, and it's like not magpie, kookaburra wings, and she's like, "Are these real kookaburra wings?" And I was like,
Lisa looked offended the entire time. It was so funny.
Do you when
the
you go
coasters?
into
The coasters on it said dessert first, like that's how we do it or something. And she's like, that's not what we do.
it's like not authentic
Yeah.
at all.
there was when we went in, because we had to wait for like 30 minutes to get a table, there on the ceiling as you walk in the door, there's an Australian
Silhouette.
a thing of Australia, and it's got north, west, south, east, and it doesn't line up with the country at all. And I was like, wow,
That's how you knew they were frauds.
Yeah, we're
When
really
you-
upside down.
When you go to Panda Express, do you think it's like an authentic Chinese
I've
experience?
never actually been to Panda Express,
okay.
but
It's not.
Yeah, I don't
It's
expect.
not- yeah. It's Americanized.
But yeah, it's like going to like a taqueria and being like, yeah, this is really like authentic Mexican.
Oh man. Hey, but I thought it delivered.
Hey, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it too.
It started off the weekend on a good note.
How did you survive? The only thing I remember from you is you sending me your heat sheet list of like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every 10 minutes you had somebody compete.
We were talking about diapers earlier. Diapers is what got me through there.
You wear Depends.
They're adult size.
Oh man, Adam smells awful.
How many
is
athletes
that?
did you have competing?
What's that?
How many athletes did you have?
I had 7 individual athletes there, and then Matt and Kyle made the turnaround to team as well. So the way that the schedule worked is Friday and then Saturday morning was the individual workouts where they did 3 on Friday and then 2 on Saturday. And then the team picked up on Saturday PM and then carried over into Sunday. So Friday was a big one because all of the individuals had 3 workouts. And so it was basically like that. The schedule that I sent you, there was literally somebody doing a workout like every 15 to 20 minutes. And then there was also the off-site one. So there was like, I stayed over there while Matt and Bryce finished up. And then Jackie was already going back over at the actual venue. So Becky was trying to cover me over here. It was busy, but it was also, I don't know, it was fun too. It was fun because I feel like I did a relatively good job of trying to set expectations with everybody and just telling them like, hey, listen, like I might not be able to watch you work out. I might be running around in different spots. Come grab me if you need me. But for the most part, like I'm going to make myself as available as possible. And everybody was really good about it. If anybody had any questions, they weren't shy about chasing me down. And that's the part that makes coaching easier, is not feeling like you have to go running around chasing. If they need something, they come to you, just sort of knowing that you're getting pulled in all those different directions.
You're only one man.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
But a good one.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's the first time I've been out there, and I've heard a lot of good things. The organizers are like, you can really read and see how passionate they
you
are
can
about
tell
running
that
their
Is it,
event.
it's in Charleston?
Yeah.
Like in city proper?
It's in North Charleston. So there's funny story. There's
Mount
two
Pleasant
there's-
near, did you see signs for that?
No,
It's
I
like 30
didn't.
minutes from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there's 2 convention centers, and when we got there on Thursday, Lisa and I drove to the wrong convention center and had to drive 25 minutes back down the highway to the correct one.
Nice.
So there's 2 convention centers. It's in the North Charleston one by the airport.
Were you using an Australian GPS system?
No.
I think something that helps paint the picture of why we're talking about this event is, we had a lot of people there, but like it had over 1,500 athletes.
I mean, that's as big as Wadapalooza.
Yeah, and
Or
we
bigger,
had
maybe.
like as training think tank representation, we had over 60 competitors, plus or minus a few, just based on like people who actually filled out the form and let us know they were going. So it was really big, and it was a cool like eastern part of the country representation of our brand. And it was just like a big kind of reunion in a sense. It was fun.
One of the things I was telling Mike when we finished was it was one thing, an accomplishment in and of itself that we can be proud about, to send that many athletes to a competition to go and do their thing. But it was something else, and I feel like we both walked away with this sense of like feeling like we served them also. Like it was really fulfilling for me to be able to talk to people and be like, man, you guys really like blew this out of the water. We felt taken care of the whole time. We felt supported. We felt like we were part of a community. And then seeing the picture of like the big group picture that we got, it was just awesome. It was a great experience.
I think that those competitions, like that sphere of competition or that type of competition where there is some elite athletes in elite divisions, but it's really more of a community themed with multiple different types of divisions, is going to be a huge part of the future of the sport, because it's the only real way to make everything profitable. And also, more people in the community that are passionate about competing are not elite athletes. So those ones that put more of a focus on just overall athlete experience than, hey, we're polishing this for the tip of the spear, I feel like are going to provide more opportunity. And it's just fun to coach also. Like I feel like it's the same thing where people are competing for the love of the game versus the professional side of it. There's something that is just really nice when somebody's passionate about a hobby versus, hey, I got to do this to make a living. It's like a little bit of a different vibe.
Yeah, I would say the pressure was a little different. Like people were there and like giving their best and wanted to do well and took like how they placed very seriously, but it felt like a little bit of a lower pressure environment in a very big setting with a lot of people. So there was like, it was just a good opportunity for a lot of my athletes and our compete athletes to practice competing in person in like a bit of a lower stress environment, because it was, if you did individual, you only competed like a day and a half. If you did team, you competed a day and a half. So you just knew like, all right, a couple of workouts and then I'll transition and go do team. So it was just fun to kind of practice both elements. And I also think too, the experience they provided felt like every division was like equally represented through the weekend.
Absolutely.
Like
I heard it was a big swag bag.
Yeah, like swag bags were cool, like all that stuff. Like treatment was great, but like the display of how many people were there watching for every division. Like the stands were packed for every division that went on through the weekend. Whereas
it wasn't like people would like pour in to watch the pros go.
Yeah,
it was like okay, the pros are done, and then a new group of people comes in to watch the next division go.
Yes,
which was really
If
cool.
anything, the pros had, from my perspective, the pros had the lowest turnout because we were at the back of every day and people were out of there by then.
done. Yeah,
And all
they've been riding rides all day.
What could you guys like paint a picture for what like convention center size? Was it 1 floor, 2 floors? You said they went off site. Like, what was it, the floor plan of the arena?
Yeah, so the off-site one was the pros had a pool event, but at the same sports complex, there was this little football field where they had set up a little object carry and then a 1K run course. So all the other divisions did this event over here while the pros were going through one heat at a time in the pool. This was maybe like 10 minutes away from the actual convention center.
It was probably less, like 5.
It was pretty close.
Outdoors?
So
a
that
track run or?
No, it was basically an off-trail run. You would run out the back of the football stadium around the whole sports complex and then finish back through, jumping over walls as you went.
Cool.
Walls as you went. But
Why
it was
walls? Why in quotes?
We jumped over one wall.
Progressively higher.
The first, there were like at the very end, there were 3 obstacles. The first was probably, I don't know,
Like this high?
not even 2 feet,
built
maybe
you
2
up.
feet
you barely
high.
had to break stride to get over it.
Yeah. You might have tripped on it if you close your eyes.
People did trip on that.
Yeah.
First one?
100%. There was
No.
I was watching Caden go, and one of the kids in the teen division went over that first one, clipped his toe.
I mean,
and
your
just
legs
went
are your legs are heavy at that
slid
point, and
all
so
the
you're
way.
trying to run. But then the second wall, Kyle Ruth looked at it and he was like, "I'm going to steeplechase that one," and so he jumped up and did it, and then almost bit it on the other side of it.
Bold move.
But I think the walls in general were a throwback to an event that they had done before
okay.
in terms of like running and jumping over obstacles and stuff.
If there were, and it would be cool to do this, but if there's an obstacle course with real size walls, it actually really does separate. Like when we went up and did the obstacle course training and games prep, simple things like, oh, get over this cargo net, get to the other side. It's like, well, yeah, everyone can kind of do it, but relative to how much risk somebody's willing to take or how good their footing is, like you can separate by like 10 or 15 seconds on one obstacle like that.
Yeah, I think there's like there's a fine line on the height of that, because like someone like Kyle was able to express his jumping ability still at the end of the run, where the final wall, he was able to kind of like jump, grab, and swing both legs
Like
over,
vaulted over it.
instead of the kind where you like pull up the wall, put one hand in, and you flip a leg over to where you're kind of rolling, which slows it down. Like he maintain the same speed through them all. So yeah, like if there was like 3 of them, it could have been a separator at the end because it was like a 1K run. It was like it was supposed to have been measured around 1200. Maybe they're including the 60, but I think the actual
they came around so fast.
Unloaded run, it was like a 3.5, 4 minute hard run.
Yeah.
And like having some of those things along the way to separate would have been cool.
So that was separate. That was the sports complex. That was everybody did their first
and just
event
one
over
day
there.
of that for the individual.
Just one
stuff.
event over that.
Yeah,
so they all started there on Friday morning. The pros were in the pool for their workout, and then everybody else was outside. And then everybody made their way back over to the convention center. So the convention center, I mean, basically picture like the old regional format. It was just this huge convention floor. It was just one big area. And then back in the back behind there was a ballroom where they had rented it out for the athlete warm-up area. And so coaches and athletes could walk in the hallway outside. The big convention center's here. There's an athlete and sort of like spectator area where you can just like, it's just flat area, send up. Vendor Village here in the middle. And then it's one big competition floor that was basically split in half by the rig. Oh. And so there's 2 workouts going on either side of the rig that basically still share the same floor. Mm-hmm. And so they had different clocks for each. They had different announcers for each, but you're working out and you're basically like within like right on the other side.
Like
of the
I could be doing toes to bar and lunging this way. Sorry.
Yeah, there could be somebody on the rings on this side. There could be somebody on the bar on that side. Like you're working out right next to somebody else doing a different workout, but that way they could get the divisions through much quicker. And they so did
it's like 2 workouts going on at the same time in each heat.
Yep.
Cool.
And so the way that the divisions worked, at least the genders, is like the girls might start like with event 1 or event 2 over here. The guys might start with event 3, run all the way through, and then you just switch sides
for the next workout. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah, I found it, this is a me issue, but I found it kind of distracting sitting on the start line. And I was watching, like there was one I was about to start and I looked over and I was like, oh, Allison's going right now. I wonder how she's doing.
Man, I was like, you problem.
Shut up, man. You're about to work out. But I think they did a good job of like, Lisa expressed concern about like, she's like, what if, you know, they're over there doing toes to bar and we're on the rings and are we going to get in each other's way? And I honestly never even, I never even noticed anybody else on the other side. Like once we started, I think they probably worked the workouts out in that there was never any like rig overlap excessively.
And hearing wise too, because I've been to events where they're doing that simultaneously. At the IF3 this year when I was in Hungary, they had 2 events going on at the same time and the announcer called out 3, 2, 1 time and the wrong floor stopped and everyone was like, huh? And they're like, no, you keep going. So I never had a sense of that confusion between the 2. So it's always like a bit of a risk doing that.
It's funny because in the gym, people will work out and like somebody could be burpeeing a foot away from them on the right, another person on the bar, and no one will even think about it. But then a competition comes up and you're like, you can't be within 30 feet of me or you'll distract me from working hard.
I mean, I stole somebody's chalk in the last workout.
You did?
On purpose? I saw it there. Yeah, the team we were racing, I was like, and then I put it off to my side.
Put it the other way.
I was like, he's got enough. It's fine. The bucket's right there.
I looked at the competition corner leaderboard. There were a lot of divisions, right?
Yeah, a lot of divisions.
I haven't counted them up, but I mean, to scroll to get to like the Masters teams, it was like,
there were like 40 divisions.
But you talk about like the event organization and like how much passion they have for it. Like that's clearly their priority. They want to make it as inclusive as possible. They want to have as many divisions available as possible. If the pros end up getting pushed out or getting shorted on time, they're completely fine with that. And like they have this very community focused vibe to the whole thing. I remember being there last year and one of the biggest like announcements things was somebody who's been there and competed for every single year of the competition. They brought like 5 of them out and gave them prizes and stuff. And that was like even more important than like who won the competition. It's just like that was their priority.
Yeah, that's their like values.
And so when I got back from it last year, I was like, man, like we don't really know where the sport's going. We don't really know like what competition avenues are going to be available to us. And like I feel like going forward, it's going to be really important to sort of vote with your dollars and vote with your presence. And like this one is like, I'm all in on this one. Like let's keep going back. Let's give these people our support.
Cool.
Let's give them our money, send our athletes there, give all the recommendations possible. Because I think they do an amazing job of doing exactly what it is that they want to do and accomplishing that single focus.
They have elite. What's the lowest like caliber of athletes? They're like a scaled.
I mean, they went down to like kids. There was kids 6 to 9. Yeah.
I saw that 6 to 9. 6 to 9 is super young. What were they doing?
I mean, Addison and Haley did a little like
kids did it,
demo workout in the middle of Saturday in between the individuals and teams. But on the leaderboard, there was kids divisions.
What were the workouts like for a 6-year-old?
Just like
burpees?
Squats and playground overhead,
playground
that kind
overhead
of
and stuff.
Yeah, cool. Simple stuff. It was just one workout too, right?
Yeah.
for the youngest.
But
ones.
in like, if somebody's a scaled athlete, can they compete there? Is it like, and then is it
No,
like sign up?
So I think their division was called novice, and everything was scaled down. I mean, starting from the very top, even going from Matt's division pro to Bryce's and RX, like things started scaling right away, and they just had this sort of linear progression down of either weights or movements or rep schemes as it went all the way down.
So there is a change in workout structure from elite to RX. Oh, cool.
Yep. A lot of times it was mostly weight.
It was mostly
Yeah.
weight or reps, and like I think like we talked about it. You know, Mike was lucky enough to get 35-pound dumbbell hang squat cleans, whereas we had the 50s. But I think that was just an equipment availability, because while you were doing that, the people were over the other side.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
using the 50s.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people take things out of context on like, well, why would they do that? Why don't they give normal weight? And it's like, yeah, like you got to consider things like equipment availability. You've got all these other divisions going on. Our masters team that I did was 35 to 45 years old, because there's 35 plus, 45 plus, 55 plus. So like when they make adjustments to reps, you also have to consider that they're doing 10 years of athletes, not just 5 years. So little things like that. And like it doesn't matter. You're still racing. Like, you know, still
I
hard
think
workouts.
Masters athletes in the sport need to get over this a little bit, because I think there's like an ego in the 35 division where like you're still strong enough and good enough to almost be an individual. So having a step back in weight or loading or complexity can almost feel like, oh, why? Well, like we're just as good. But if we're really trying to make it in like a more inclusive sport where more people can do it at the masters level, I think actually the scaling should almost start immediately, where it's like, oh, cool, you could still have a max where the strong people can express it, or maybe a ladder that gets up heavy where the strong people can express it. But I think by and large, it's actually a better decision for the sport this is just my personal opinion, that modification happens so that more people that are not just the individual athletes that are still kind of training like full-time athletes get to express their full thing.
Yeah.
And we let more of the recreational people that have families that are still really good play the game more.
Because it's that demographic, the people that have been in the sport for a while, they're the ones who are going to complain about it because they're used to the other stuff.
Yeah, they're pros basically who are just old now.
Well, I think it depends on the competition and what they want. Are they trying to find just like the cream of the crop, top of the level elite? Because then you have competitions like Crash where JR doesn't adjust any of the masters workouts, and that's understood though. It's like, hey, look, I want
you're going to get
athletes
that
here that can handle this, you know, and like I totally respect that. And then on the other side of it, Fittest of the Coast is like trying to get as many people in as possible to do it. So you can't have like 315 pound squat cleans and be like, you know, we'll take a rep off of it.
I mean, that's what you said to me leading into this when I told you that I was feeling like kind of nervous, right? Like it was my first time competing in forever and whatnot. And you said like, hey, you have to know what you're signing up for. Like this is it's a big competition with a lot of people, but it's still not, this isn't a semifinal, or it's not a like,
just go have
this
fun.
high end event. Like it's for fun. And I think like people signing up for that and then complaining about the scaling need to look at it and say like, hey, this is a fun event. This isn't Crash where I know I'm signing up for that.
And it's still hard. I mean, you can do 35-pound thrusters and they still suck.
Well, you know what? If you'd given me those 35-pound dumbbells, I would have had to do more bar muscle ups, which would have been worse. And I would have had to ski harder, which would have made it worse
I was
again.
still blown up.
What was your last competition that you did? Both of you guys. You said it's been a while. What
Mine was
the last one?
Torian in 2023.
That was your last
That was my
competition
last
period.
in-person competition, yeah.
And what about you?
The games, 2022.
22.
Yep, in
Yeah, you
person.
win.
When was your last
With the
individual
team.
one?
Individual?
Yeah. Just curious.
Oh, I didn't do individuals this weekend, but
I know.
Oh man, it was gonna be Crash, but I pulled out because I tore my bicep. Trying to get ready for it.
Was it the 2013 games?
Man, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't know, probably around probably 2015 or so.
Nice.
It was a blast watching Mike and Kyle out there again, though.
That's
because
pretty cool.
even with the scaled down thing, they're still so good at the sport itself that they understand how to make the adjustments necessary to win races.
Yeah.
I wish I'd been able to watch you guys. The timing was just slightly out that I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I wish I'd been able to watch.
Man,
Like
our
you
first
were
event was
competing?
such a mess. I'll be honest, I was like,
I got
Fired up.
a picture of Mike's face afterwards. It was the ugliest event win you'll ever see in your life.
It was so sloppy. Everything that could have gone wrong in each element did. Like Kyle did an entire extra 20-foot handstand walk. I'm yelling at him like, "We're done." Come on.
When you have those experiences happen, does it make you like second guess yourself as a coach, or like everyone's looking at me like I'm dumb? I think about that when I'm working out in here. Sometimes I'm like, am I losing respect to people because I'm going too slow?
Normally it would, but I kind of expected that to happen because we didn't train a lot together leading into this. And the one day we trained here on site, practicing one of those events, it was a disaster.
I remember that.
Yeah. I was like, bro, we got work to do.
I came in here and
we
you
are
guys
not on the
dead
same wavelength right now. It's pretty funny. So I kind of had that expectation, and I was like, like y'all were watching, and I was like, I think they kind of expected to see that a little bit.
It was very funny.
Yeah, that was funny. But that was my first Masters comp in person. Actually, I don't think I've done a Masters comp at all. But yeah, it was fun, man. The guys were really cool, and it was just like, it's just so much fun competing like at a kind of like a I don't know, like a level I'm proficient at right now. Like, being able to race and be in the mix and like, not just get like smoked on things. And like I train here on site and like I try to go hard and I like will still like be competitive in some things, but like, man, everyone's so young and super fit. And it's like when you're like in a group of athletes that are all in the same walk of life as you, it's really cool.
The vibes are definitely different with the Masters, especially age groups, like being in Birmingham and just like watching them in the back in the warm-up area. Like everybody's much more comfortable in their own skin. I would say it's not that they don't want to win. It's not that they're not competitive. It's just like there's a lot less like peacocking that's going on back there. Like everybody's very friendly with each other. Everybody likes joking around about how sore each other is. But even this one, that's what it felt like.
I think also it's like your self-concept has gotten to the point that athletics is not the defining variable of who you are as a person. So a lot of people can have these big goals. They could train really hard for them all year. But when they don't come to fruition because you're older and you've dealt with enough setbacks and bad things in your life, you're just kind of like, well, that sucked. Like, now move on. Where I feel if you're a 24-year-old athlete and that's your whole thing, and you haven't had as many experiences to get over it, your whole income's tied to it. Like, there's just like more things I feel like that go into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's a lot less. I feel like identity driven for masters athletes, and it's like it's not their main thing in their life. They finish and they're like, most of them have a family and whatnot to go home to, and it's like you know what, like this isn't my entire life, and I can step away from this. And it's like whereas when you're, it wasn't too bad this weekend, but a lot of the time, like in the back end of the pros, like I'm chatty, right? And I'm have fun and chat shit. But some of the guys are like brick walls. They don't talk. They don't say anything. They're dead quiet. I'm like, oh, okay.
You think they're playing mind games or they're just quiet?
I don't know. I think just quiet, and serious. Whereas I'd rather yap my brains out and
deal with the anxiety. What was a highlight moment or multiple highlight moments?
It's
favorite moment?
Yeah.
I said no highlights.
I'm still coming down from the whole thing as a highlight.
Yeah. I think the highlight overall, I mean, we put lots of people on the podiums. We had a lot of people that enjoyed their time, but for Mike and I, who were mostly there in like a coach role, Matt was there in a coach role, but mostly like an athlete role. He had so much going on. It was just really, really cool to see that many people walking around in shirts that said TTT on them proudly and representing our brand in a way that I think that we can all be like really, really confident in going forward.
I mean, now that you say that, like I had 3 people come up to me that are not actually affiliated with TTT in any way and just say, hey, like, we love your guys' content. Like, we love what you do. And that was cool. That I really liked. Like, I had, even in the corrals, like guys would be like, oh, you guys are awesome. Yeah. And I think that was nice to know that, like, hey, just because people aren't on compete or with a coach, like, they're still following and looking at all that.
In a largely digital world of online programs and remote work, having a weekend to be able to be face to face with people, it just impacts. It has a different impact, and it was just really nice and refreshing to put names to faces. People that have been supporters for a long time, meeting new people like you said that are outside of the brand. Giving love to the podcast and all the hard work Chris puts into making this cool. And that was like really refreshing. Where it's like, we coach people online all the time, especially in compete, and like you don't ever really get to have like the personal interaction, which kind of like helps you continue to move forward with that and be passionate about it. So like, just like a rejuvenating weekend of it was the highlight to me.
It was the difference of like the approach from the event organizers in terms of like what it is that they wanted to accomplish out of it. I would draw the analogy in terms of what it is that I would want TTT to try and accomplish from like the athlete experience that we deliver, right? Like the idea is always to try and put on either a great competition or try and set athletes up for success. But really what you're trying to do, all-inclusive competition, and have athletes look back at your time spent, whether it's through compete, whether one-on-one coaching, affiliate, anything else, and be like, man, I got better as an athlete and a human, and I enjoyed my experience with TTT. So like the highlight of the weekend, it was cool. There was podiums, there was PRs, there was like enjoyable workouts and event wins. But like, I feel like for me, it would be able to hang my hat on the idea of like, I saw, I think 3 people that I used to work with individually that I don't work with anymore, and gave them all hugs and talked about their life and talked about like their families and stuff. And like, I hope that they can all like look back on the time with either me or TTT and be like, man, like that was a really cool feeling being a part of that community.
I mean, I wasn't there, so I'm only getting like vibes, like people sending me messages like, oh, there's TTT shirts everywhere. This has been going, and looking at the leaderboard, but it's just been nice. I feel like since August, really, there's been a lot of, to the point where I had to disconnect from it, a lot of negative energy about competing. But these competitions really just highlight just why people do it in the first place, just what you can get out of a competition, the types of people you meet on a regular basis, you just take for granted, like we're in a community of people that's striving to like push themselves through suffering to get better at something, to be very detail oriented about something, which is like, just to have those boxes checked in your life already puts you in like the top 1% of just humanity at large. And you get an opportunity to engage with and learn at these competitions. And I think it just like, I don't know, it's been nice to just remind myself like, oh, this is what it's all about. Like, it's not about all that, like, yes, the professionalism of it and all that stuff has to get better over time, but it already is getting better at a lot of these places and at a lot of these competitions. So it was nice to just have that vibe as a reminder, like, okay, cool. Like, it's not all the grim shit that can get in your head when you're looking at social media, that there's a lot of good, positive energy and positive vibes out there. I just got to remember to look for them and remember to engage with them.
Yeah, definitely got that experience this weekend. It was nice to be in a positive environment around the sport, and like just seeing a lot of people that are like really in love with like competing in fitness sports like that, you know, regardless of like how serious it was or prize money, like they were just there like having fun for the weekend.
Yeah. And throwing down super hard. I mean, like major suffering for nothing, like just for the experience itself. Like it's not because they're getting paid at the highest level for it. Yeah. What, the guys who run it, how long has it been going on? And the same guys?
I want to say 5 years. Yeah. I should know all
Maybe
their names.
longer.
Kyle's the main guy.
Yeah, one of the main guys. I think he also organizes PGA Tour events or markets for them. And I've heard he's like won awards for doing it. And like you could tell he's just very professional about his leadership there. He seems pretty well respected and like runs a really tight ship, but has, you know, all the volunteers and staff kind of like you know, on the same page with him with how they want the experience to feel. And I felt that through everyone there. Like
cool.
Even the event organizer and like, or the event director itself, super nice guy. Like it was cool. So you can tell he's got some experience with that.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how it grows next year. I mean, I know that I've been told they listen to feedback and make changes. And I've seen, like I saw last year's workouts. I've had athletes do it for a couple years, and I've seen it develop over the years, and it has gotten like a little more intense. While they're still trying to cater to a lot of athletes, the workouts are getting a little more complex, and they're adding to those things. So I'm curious to see the growth for next year. Like, will they level up the pro division a bit, or, you know, will they tighten up judging standards to make sure that it is like as extremely fair as possible to make sure that everyone has like that good experience? Because, you know, we're all speaking from the side of it of like, you know, we won, and like it's easy to be like, it was an amazing event when you win, and then like if you got like shafted out of a podium spot or something because of bad judging, it's really easy to complain about that.
Or if you lost on a 5th tiebreaker. Is there, I mean, you could tell, I mean, I feel like people should kind of understand your resentments and you could get it out, you could vent here. But like, is there any like legit feedback that, I mean, if they say they listen, like that, hey, if this is going to be something in 5 years, another 5 years, another 10 years that you would like to see different, or
go ahead.
For
me, it was just a couple of equipment things, right? Like some of the equipment was breaking and stuff. I don't know like what kind of agreement they have with the equipment supplier that weekend, but like in the middle of my workout, the clips, something that cost us a couple of reps in the clean and jerk workout was the clips coming off of the bar and the plates were coming off. And in a 3-minute workout, we had to stop twice to tighten it up, and like little stuff like that, you know, like again, I'm going into this weekend to have fun. I'm not gonna like flip out over anything like that, but you know, like little stuff like that is like, could be improved to be something that's more controllable. And I'm sure they get that kind of feedback and we'll listen to it.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's
we'll
hard.
see.
Like they had the torque tank right out in the back before we went on Friday for that workout, and we were about to go out, and they came out and they wheeled the tank out. And as they were wheeling it out, the wheel fell off.
No.
Yeah. And then we got delayed on Saturday. That was why we didn't finish as a team until I want to say like 8:45, close to 9, because that got delayed because on the other floor, the wheels were falling off the tank. So it's just like equipment testing. But I mean, it's hard to know, right? Like those look to me like a fairly new piece of kit from that brand.
And it could have also been like they had volunteers putting it together and somebody forgot to like put the wheel on.
Yeah, like I appreciate the novelty of having something newer in there, but and giving us like something you typically wouldn't see. But like from that standard to, you know, there were little things like those tanks that when you pushed them, if you were pushing them properly, no matter what you did, the back wheels came off the ground. You physically had to push down on them to stop that happening. And, you know, the judges the whole time were like, wheels on the ground. And at one point I looked up at my judge and I was like, I am trying, like pleading with her. They didn't no rep anything or anything like that on it, which maybe was part of the problem. Like the first team event that we did, you know, we pushed our tank off and I looked up and everyone was gone. And I was like, oh no, we're going to lose this, because they were just, if you picked up the back wheels, it honestly was 50% easier to push. So a lot of people were just like, they'd lean into the handles and like lift the base a little bit, and it just depended on your judge. And I never saw anyone get called back. So like on our part, maybe we should have just done it and been like, but there were a couple things like that kind of bothered me a little bit. I'm not ranting, but you know, in the warm-up area for that same workout, we had the deadlifts, and some people were wearing grips, some people weren't. And we went and tried to ask, are we allowed to wear grips? And they said, I don't know, ask your judge when you get out there. And I was like, well, what if different judges say different things? And that was like she's like, I don't know. And that's like a little thing to me that's like, hey, maybe you guys should have this sorted. But then, you know, we're lining up and the head judge came around and he's like, grips off. And some people listened, some people didn't. And I kind of grabbed him and was like, hey, can we make sure everybody takes their grips off, please? You know? But I mean,
you snitch.
Hey, I ain't about that. I'm not gonna lose a workout.
Hey, you're really good on your hands. Sorry to interrupt. In that workout, did the deadlifts to go to the handstand walk, was it challenging for you?
No, it was fine.
Man, it was like the hardest handstand walks I've ever done. We basically had to do 80 deadlifts synchro straight into our handstand walk, and my lats from holding the dumbbells and grip were so blown up when I went to kick up, I walked to the first 20 feet on my knuckles. Like I couldn't open my fingers.
Legit?
Yeah. I'm not kidding. But I kicked up and I was like on my paws.
You couldn't get your hands
No, I could.
open?
If I tried and I felt like the muscles in my forearm were gonna like tear.
I did.
So
have
you
that
actually
on the
walked like
yes,
this?
the first 20 feet I was on my knuckles.
That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty.
If you watched when we were going,
it's Tarzan over here.
I finished while Kyle's going, and I was like, I could not open myself up. It was crazy.
Well, that's how both of you guys did really well in that team format, though, was your handstand walk speed. Because I mean, just that portion of it after the deadlifts stopped everybody in their tracks.
Was so fast on those handstand walks, and she actually after that event was giving me shit because my first handstand walk after the deadlift was, she's like, why were you going so slow?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's exactly how she said it too.
Yeah, but you know, she was really, really quick on those, and she kind of dragged me along on the deadlifts as well.
Have you guys ever done a team before?
We did a team.
Lisa's his wife, by the way.
Yeah, Lisa's my wife. We did a team in 2018 maybe, just at our gym in a local comp, and after that we swore to never do it again because I was trying to be I was like competitive and like trying to, I think I just made like a sanctional and like was like trying to be a competitive, and we did it with some friends, And I remember yelling at Lisa on the rower because like she was finishing on this hard row, and I was like, "Come on, Lisa, like lean in." And she turned around and shut up.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, I don't think we should be on a team.
This might not be good for us.
We did do an online qualifier once on a team, and that went pretty well. I think I yelled at her once.
Yeah.
That's pretty well.
Yeah.
Do
And
you
then
yell at all your teammates or just her?
Lisa. But then, oddly enough, this weekend, I didn't yell at her once.
You were too tired.
She yelled at me.
Yeah.
We're on the worm and we fumbled it. We both like messed up the timing and fumbled it. And you know, you pick it up and put it in your feet and go to pick it up. And it was on our feet. And I was like, all right, well, it's on my feet. Just pick it up. So she's like, yep. And we go to pick it. I go to pick it up and she goes to tap our feet again. And we did that 3 times. And she looks at me and she goes, come on. What are you doing? I was like, I'm sorry.
Man, you can lose friends over one workout.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty exposing on relationships.
Yeah, I was like, a buddy of mine back home, he texted me this morning. He's like, so how many times did you yell at Lisa? I was like, none. She yelled at me.
I deserved it.
That's
She said to me, I was like, she's like, well, maybe if you'd done better.
I've competed with Brandy a lot, and I've learned over the years there's things I want to say that I don't say to her. I tell someone to say it to her.
I mean,
On the floor,
Yeah.
you're like, yo, tell Brandy to go
Exactly. I would like whisper to Kyle or Mia or whoever, teammates, and I'd be like, hey, tell her this. Because if it's coming from me, it's just not
you're
going to
gonna
be
get
received.
yelled
It's
at.
on the
way.
messenger.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'll give it to Lisa. She was the MVP of our team this weekend. I think she
Nice.
carried
Yeah.
us through
I was-
a
I
very
mean-
large amount of everything.
I was impressed by both of you. I was impressed by you, but not surprised. I was surprisingly impressed by how well she did all weekend
I
long.
was very
It was
impressed
very,
with her.
very
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
So you guys would have, or you tied for first in points, and you told me that you got the 5th tiebreaker,
Yeah.
and I'm really keen, like, I want to know what are the other 4.
Yeah.
It's like how many wins you had, maybe?
First of all, let me set the stage for this. I just wanted to beat Mike and Jordan.
That was it?
I've been talking so much shit. I just wanted to be able to brag. And that to me is like
Number 1.
it, number one. And then we were in second going into the last event. We were 13 points ahead of Mike and Jordan, and we were 22 points out of first place. And like looking at the team,
Who was the
they were called Thick and Tall. It was Riley Good and Ashley something. And he's a team games athlete, and he came second, I think, in the individual division. He's a good athlete. And I was like, I'm not 100%. I don't think we can get them on the ski. Like she's twice the size of Lisa, like big, tall, and he's fit. I
is
was
he
like,
the thick one?
Yeah, he was the thick one. I did ask them that question. I said,
Yeah.
"Me too."
Yeah, he's a super strong dude.
But I was like, we're not going to get them on the ski. And there's some big boys in that field. I said to Adam beforehand, I was like, we're not winning the ski. Like, no chance. So we kind of like put more of our marbles in the AMRAP. And, I came out really hot on the first ski and got us ahead. And then by the time I got back to the ski, Lisa had dropped like 5 cows to her. So I got us ahead again before he got back on the ski. And then it was like a little back and forward. But we managed to get ahead on the AMRAP. And I realized looking around, we were ahead of everybody. So I was like, we got to put the effort in here. Like, this is it. So we made that 22-point jump. We beat Mike and Jordan. And I was like, are we finished? And I was like, we did it. And Kyle comes up to me after I finished talking to one of my athletes. And he's like, you guys are tied for first. I was like, no way. So what do you think?
Wait. Were you guys whispering?
No, I'm sorry.
You're whispering.
No way. I'm trying to contain my excitement. And I was like, man, how are they going to break that? And Kyle was trying to work it out. He's like, well, you guys both got 2 first places. You've both got a second. You've both got 2 thirds, and you both have a 7th. So we had the exact same placing. So first tiebreak was highest event finished, first place. Lowest event finish, 7th place. Total combined event finishes, the same. They didn't tell me what the 4th tiebreak was.
What?
I don't know.
They
Yeah,
didn't
he's
tell
like,
you?
I can't remember what it was. It was probably most recent event, which we would have won, so they changed it. 5th
The
tiebreak.
resentment's coming out.
Yeah, 5th tiebreak, they used event 6, which for us was actually event 4. And their justification was it was the most CrossFit event. That was the worm clean and jerk handstand push-up workout.
But that's
So-
is that the most CrossFit-y one?
No,
then?
I don't think so.
Yeah, how do you define that?
That's too subjective. Like, my argument is, I'm like, that's very subjective
Yeah.
of you. Anyway,
I feel like that would have been a good time to give a tie, or just like
Yeah.
be like, all right, we're having a tiebreaker right
Yeah,
now.
Probably
I
just
said
wanted
it. I
it
said,
over.
hey,
They're like, it's the end of the weekend. They keep tying. Like,
Yeah.
Burpee race.
I said it.
this one.
I said to him, hey, I'll race you in burpees. Like 100th time.
Of course you
let's
would.
go.
Yeah, he'd probably be like, all right, let's do a max clean.
Yeah, I wouldn't have won that. But yeah, so to me personally, I'm trying not to rant because I'm competitive and
You're trying not to complain.
yeah, I don't want to complain, but
Just let it out.
we,
But no.
to me, it should have been the most recent event win, which it was event 5, which was the AMRAP. We won that. If you'd argued back and said, the event 4 and 5 were one event, you can't use that. I would have said, we'll take the average of those. We won that. We won in my head.
I feel like you can make a valid argument that you won.
Yeah.
but
So,
you didn't.
I'm really, I was pretty stoked with like Lisa and I's effort. Like there was one workout, the max reps of clean and jerk. Lisa missed the very last clean, and that would be the only thing we could improve or like do better on. And it didn't change anything on the leaderboard. We got 15 reps. The next best score was 17. It wouldn't have made a difference. Yeah. So like there was nothing we could have done this weekend from an execution standpoint or like anything. There was no judging error. There was nothing that happened that makes me be like, that was a bad weekend. It was like really good.
A really good competition to walk away and say that. Because I feel like I have coached people for a long time in this, and I don't think I've ever left a competition where I'm like, you didn't leave that much on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Like there's always
my
something.
individual performance is different, but we won't talk about that.
Fair.
I'm always looking at these events, and I think just like CrossFit events or, mixed fitness sport events in general, and thinking of what if the standard was always something that when you design these, you have to always be able to see like who's in the lead and like where the workout is progressing. Because on some of the chipper style stuff, you can kind of see and it's very clear, but like the ski erg, AMRAP one, like nobody had any idea how anyone was doing. And I watched y'all's live feed or listened to it when I was driving with Brian Friend, walking through, and when y'all would go on a run, he would go through and like read the monitors, and that was kind of like the best update. So, I think like just like something to consider for all event organizers is like when you do these things, just even consider like the little flip over cards to every 10 calories you flip it over, or every round they complete, move a cone. Little things like that make it so much more appealing as a spectator, which truly, if we want it to grow and be something that people from the outside that aren't just there watching friends and family compete need to have some kind of connection to understand it.
I think that I was watching, this is the last competition I went to is Wadapalooza, and I remember the workout specifically with the 40 dumbbell bench presses in the middle of the workout. It's a huge component of the workout. So like a lot of people got there around the same amount of time, but not knowing where they were was like, you're watching a huge part of the race having no idea what's going on. Or the team workouts, they were like freaking 40 teams across and you have no idea. I think for our long-term sport, either we need to just say, hey, this is not a spectator sport, it's only a participation sport, and you're just not going to know, or there's got to be a better way to display it or write the workouts such that it's very easy to just watch and know, okay, they're in first, they're in the lead. And it's just something that I don't really know what the solution to it is, but I do think things like that are just really important for being able to watch a sport.
I mean, well, there's a couple of easy solutions, I think. The ones that have the machine monitors, especially the C2 ones, just hook them all together and display a screen. Like there's projectors that go that where you can very easily show how much work is being done on each machine. The ones like that where it's like there's rep counts that are happening that are hard to keep track of because there's no progression down the floor because you're just stuck at a station. You've got a judge that's set there, but then you've also got a scorekeeper that's here where this judge is signaling to the scorekeeper,
doing these things
or
like every 5.
It could be that where they're changing that, or it could be up on the screen where there's actually numbers that are displaying. And it helps the athletes as well because then they know, where am I at? Who do I need to chase? Is there a race that's going to happen?
Yeah, for sure.
There's an art form that comes into what Mike was saying in terms of trying to design how the workout progresses down the floor and then come back so that the spectacle is captured. But I think that there's still ways around trying to make sure that even somebody who doesn't know anything about the sport or doesn't know anything about the workout, they can still look up and see they're in the lead, they're in second. That's a close race. I want to watch that one.
Yeah, you go to a basketball game and like you can look at the scoreboard and you know who's in the lead and where you are in the game. You go to most like things, if you're watching a race, you're like, oh, well, that person is like, they're in the front, they're winning. And there's a 50-foot gap. Like you can get an idea of watching it for a casual observer, what's going on. And I feel like that problem does have to be solved because it's hard. And I was watching some of the live streams from Wadapalooza because I had to go back to my place, or I was hanging out with Travis and the boys while they were mid workout. So I was watching some on the live stream, and you're watching and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, I'm watching for moral support because I want to see if I can see anything so that when I talk to the people, I'm like, oh, I saw you do X, X, and X. Yeah. But really, I'm just waiting for the leaderboard to populate because I have no idea what happened.
Yeah,
And
I thought Brian Friend did a great job with his stream, by the way, because not only did he say like what was happening as close as he could, but he was also everybody's names, what they were wearing, who was where. He did a really, really good job of just knowing as much as he could and then trying to display it through there. Cool. It's different than if you watch a stream, even at a big competition where you're looking at one person the whole time. Yeah. And like the commentators are also looking at them. They're only talking about them. He was all over the place. He was talking about people, and then like just knowing like, oh, she's wearing red and black. That's her name. This is the rep count that she's out. I thought he did a great job of that.
Cool.
Yeah, he was I appreciated really that, him calling the last team event. Not just calling out the team names, but every athlete on the team and like, you know, coming in, trying to paint the picture of where the race is so that as a viewer, you're more engaged and you want to know like, all right, well, this person's right next to them. Like, this is where the tie, you know, like what they need to do or who they need to pass. Like, yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah. You can appreciate the legwork that he put in. I mean, and you talk about it from like the purpose or the goal of the event organizers as well. Maybe they don't care as much about everybody else knowing what's going on. They wanted to put their resources towards the experience above everything. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying is like, if you lean into that, it's fine. But you got to then accept from a sport perspective, it's like, well, hey, every sport that's successful in a professional setting has an ability to think about and display how the sport is leading a point system, a race system. If you're watching Tour de France, they have split times of where the leaders are. And I think that's a really important part of our sport that it's going to be hard to solve because a lot of it's resource constrained. But I think if possible, event organizers planning workouts where there's clear steps forward and you can watch it and think, okay, I could bring my grandmother out here to watch and be like, hey, they're going to do this race and the person that's farthest down the lane that way is winning.
Yeah, like, they have less clothes on. Are they winning? Every round you strip something off.
It's always like this little like Jack in the Box experience of waiting for somebody's hand to pop up.
Yes.
Oh, there's somebody down there.
That's true. It is like the individual event with the ski erg was like that. You know, bunch of dudes racing back, getting on the ski erg, and like everyone's just like grinding at the end, the last 50 and 40 calories, and all of a sudden you're just like, an arm pops up and the crowd's like, something happened.
It could also be very demoralizing. I've been in scenarios where I have somebody on a machine and I'm waiting for the next thing.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of people and you see hands going up and then I'm like counting. I'm like, okay, there's one.
It's there's like being picked to play a game.
Duck. I'm like, oh no, we're at 25.
All those hands up, they're not yet. Yeah, as a coach watching that's stressful.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. Did we have a question from the audience, sir?
Celebrating Adam's big achievement this week.
Adam's big achievement. I need to
Wordle.
Yeah. What happened?
Wordle?
500 days in a row.
Damn.
No way.
You've done 500 Wordles in a row?
Successful Wordles in a row.
Oh, successful
Wordles.
You guys
never failed?
Attempts.
That means for 500 days straight you've completed and successfully completed Wordle.
Within 5 guesses.
Damn.
6 guesses.
Did you have any questionable reps in those 500?
There was one. And the reason is because Becky's starting word got it on one of them, I think. And she wakes
told
up, I try not to look at hers because I know that what her starting word is. And so she always wakes up before me and I'm like, all right, can't look at that one yet.
Yeah.
How many times have you gotten it on one guess?
6. 7.
You've gotten 6?
Oh, wow.
Damn, that's what, 1%?
So once you hit your starting word, you retire it and you bring a new one.
6 of 500?
Yeah. More.
I got it. I used my starting word and got it one time and I haven't ever played it since.
What was the word?
A little bit more than
Dream.
1%.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yep. I used Dream and got it one day and I was like, all right, I'm done. I beat the game.
Well, Chris, you got what you wanted. That was that's the end, I guess. Adam is 500 successful Wordles in.
Yeah.
Mike is a champion of the Masters teams division.
The Baby Masters.
Yeah, Baby Masters. And you almost won a competition.
Almost won a competition.
Everybody watching this, just go look at the leaderboard and see whose team name is on top.
It says Thunder from Down Under right there.
Nice. Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We already talked about this one. Oh, yeah. We didn't say explicitly that. So Chris played in this tournament that I don't know if you're
For 9
gonna cut
hours
out.
straight.
Yeah, for 9
No
hours
pee breaks,
straight.
no pauses.
So in that world of Halo, there's like brands and people that are like famous characters that have YouTube channels. And it was broadcast by one of the famous people in the space. They won. And it was like, I don't know, it was like the most rewarding. Like, I was like, so fired up about just him playing video games for 10 hours. But
Oh,
I thought it
wait,
was
you
pretty
watched
cool.
him play and win?
I watched like almost the whole weekend. I was at home working.
You were cheering for him?
Yeah.
No way. That's so cool.
Yeah.
No. I knew that. I
Mike
didn't.
was still chewing his food.
Yeah. We were talking like
I didn't know you were watching it live.
yeah, and he
Yeah.
because the
Why
way the
didn't you
games
tell
work,
us?
they went.
Yeah,
like,
it's almost like we
yeah.
should have talked about that at the
Yeah, I
beginning
know.
of this
So
episode.
non-
We should have
nonchalantly.
told people.
You're so humble. You're such a humble
where
warrior.
does one watch a Halo tournament though? Like
It
is
was
on
so it was
YouTube,
live streamed on
Twitch?
Twitch from his team leader's perspective. Then after they started going through the whole tournament, they got into like the finals. So then the broadcasters were doing it. So it was like, imagine watching like, I don't know, like Talking Elite Fitness live broadcasting, just like one of your friends doing something and winning. Like it was just such an unexpected, cool thing. To
Yeah.
That's
happen.
awesome.
Yeah.
Tell him what his gamer tag is. So they can
This
look him
guy?
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That will be leaked out.
Why? You might get followers.
Hey, Chris is
They're gonna come after him now.
Chris is conspicuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, to the event organizers at Fittest of the Coast, thank you for putting it on and crushing it.
For sure.
To
Yeah.
you guys,
thank
thank you for being here. To all of our athletes that were there supporting us, we appreciate you.
Yep. Word.
Peace.
Thank you for listening.